Hello there, you beautiful people, and a massive congratulations from me for making it through this section of the course on managing software with your package manager. Now, I know it was a tough one with loads of new concepts for you to have to digest, but you got there anyway, and in fact, we covered so many concepts in this section of the course that I wanted to take the time to have a quick recap of what we covered and to give you some wholehearted and well-deserved praise for making it this far. So congratulations and well done. I don't know of any other course or resource on the internet that covers these concepts in that much detail, so you should be very proud of yourself for digesting it and making it all the way through. Massive congratulations. So let's have a quick recap of what we covered in this section of the course. So first we started off by discussing the GNU project and free software in general. And you learned about the history of the GNU project that was started by Richard Stallman in 1983. Now, the GNU project started with the aim of creating an operating system based upon giving users freedom to control how the software was used and how it functioned. And you learned about the 4 freedoms that free software gives you, and you learned that a prerequisite requirement for those freedoms is to have access to the source code of the software. Now, because this software is openly accessible, such software is called open source software. Okay. Now, when we headed over to the GNU website and downloaded, modified, and compiled our very own version of the ls command, so that it said, "Hello there, you beautiful people," whenever it was run. And in that process, you saw how to configure the GNU C compiler using the make command, and you saw how to compile code and install it on your system. But this was a rather tedious process, and so we next introduced to you how to use package managers and software repositories. Now, Ubuntu and many other distributions have thousands and thousands of software packages available for you to download and try out. And on Ubuntu, these packages are stored in 4 repositories that help keep software separated based upon the different freedoms and levels of reliability they give to the user. So the main repository is maintained by Canonical, which is the company that makes Ubuntu, and therefore the main repository should be your first port of call. The Universe repository contains free software that is maintained by the community, and then you've got the restricted repository, which contains software for device drivers, and then you've got the Multiverse repository, which contains software restricted by legal and copyright issues. So we then headed over to packages.ubuntu.com and browsed through the packages that are available to us. We saw that there are thousands and thousands of packages that can each have different dependencies, they can have different recommendations, they can have different version numbers, and so on. And you realize that this would be an absolute nightmare to try and organize all manually, and that's where you learned about the benefit of Ubuntu's package manager that will do all of that for us. Now, pretty much every Linux distribution has a package manager, but the one on Ubuntu is called apt, which stands for Advanced Packaging Tool. So APT for Advanced Packaging Tool. Now, we then started to look at how the package manager works. We saw that it downloads lists of available packages into the cache on your system. And you can search this cache for packages relevant to a search term using apt cache search, and show more information about a given package using apt cache show. Now, the most important thing about having a cache is making sure that it's always up to date, and you learn how to update the cache using sudo apt-get update. And one amazing thing about the package manager is their ability to make sure that all the software on your system is completely up to date in one go. Now, to do this, you use sudo apt-get upgrade. But remember that you should always make sure that the package lists in your cache are up to date first using sudo apt-get update before upgrading packages to the new version numbers using sudo apt-get upgrade. However, in order to be able to keep a package up to date, it needs to be installed through the package manager and not compiled from source. So do bear that in mind and try to install packages from the software repositories wherever possible. Which is actually the next topic that we came on to, installing. You saw that you can install new packages on your system using sudo apt-get install, and the packages come pre-compiled and ready to go. You don't even need to reboot your system, okay? It's all ready to go as soon as you install it. And we installed the X11 apps package, which gave us the fun Xeyes package to play around with, and we saw so many other applications such as Xman, which is a graphical way of browsing the manual pages. But because the packages installed via the package manager are pre-compiled, that means we need another way to take a look at the source code, right? So then we discussed about how the Ubuntu archives are structured and how to configure our sources.list file to allow us to actually download source code. We then downloaded the source code for the X11 apps package and took a look at the code for the XEyes program. So we saw behind the scenes, and this code can be compiled and installed in the same way as the code we downloaded from the GNU website. But remember that code that's compiled and installed manually loses its ability to be kept up to date with the package managers. Oh, and by the way, everything that is on the GNU website is also in the software repositories, so you can just use the repositories going forward. And finally, we saw how to uninstall packages using the package manager. To remove a package, the best method is the sudo apt-get purge, because that removes any configuration files that came with the package that might just stay behind and clog up your hard drive. So sudo apt-get purge to remove packages. And when you install a package, it often comes with some dependencies that might no longer be needed when you uninstall that package. So to get rid of any dangling dependencies, you can use sudo apt-get auto remove. So you also learned that when a package is installed, its .deb file is saved locally on the computer. And if a lot of these .deb files build up, they can really take up a lot of space. So to remove all of these .deb files, you simply run sudo apt-get clean. Now you may not want to remove them all, but instead just remove the ones that are no longer accessible from the repositories. So to do that, run sudo apt-get auto clean. Okay, now with that, you now have a solid understanding of what open source and free software is all about, where it came from, how to search for it, how to install it, how to manage it, and how to uninstall it on your GNU Linux computer. So remember that each of these pieces of software comes with its own man page for you to read and learn about the packages as well, so you've got complete freedom. Now I've put a cheat sheet in the resources section for this video that lays out each of the commands and useful files and folders on the system that we've covered in this section, so that you can refer to that when you're working with packages if you ever need a bit of a refresher. But in all honesty, you have come so far in this section of the course, and I am so unbelievably proud of you. There is a whole massive world of software out there for you to explore, and if you can think of it, it's probably in the repositories. So go and have an explore. Why not head over to packages.ubuntu.com and have a search around and see, install some stuff and try it out. Now, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and the time has come that we need to wrap up the course. So to say goodbye, I'll see you in the next video.